Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Zach.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Victor. And this is the podcast where we're cracking nuts and slapping butts.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I dreamt I had a soul to keep. And if I die before I wake, will that dream just go on for its own sake?
Do you guys know what your first words were as babies?
Dog.
Dog.
I don't know anything about my origins. I know nothing.
You're like
I had no idea. It's just a blank void, and then I'm like 8 years old and crying.
you're like Wolverine.
Things carry on from there.
He's not joking.
You're like Wolverine from X-Men. You have no memory.
Right. You
Where you
know,
came
who
from.
needs it? You know, that kind of thing just weighs you down.
Definitely not a trauma response or anything.
No, it's probably superhero
It's probably
origins.
too good
Right,
for
exactly.
you to remember.
Yeah, exactly. Like one day I'll find out like my alien overlords dropped me down here with a special mission, you know. I just need to turn 40 and then they can tell me what that is.
That would be funny if repressed memories worked that way. Like something was so awesome that your brain just couldn't handle it and it shorted out.
Yeah.
You find out later that a whole chunk of time that you're missing was like when you won like golden tickets to a chocolate factory.
That's my pet theory about ghosts, is that like you're seeing something incomprehensible and like your brain just like mashes it into a thing that makes sense. Like it's just making sense because your brain's always filling in
Yeah.
information.
Your brain's
know?
like, Grandpa,
Yeah.
you're still
So
around.
like you see the Lovecraftian incomprehensible horror, and you're like, if you're like young, it's like, ooh, ball, ooh, weird light. And then if you get a little bit older and your brain's a little bit more crusty, it's like anything I see that I don't understand is just a weird person that phases in and out of reality. I don't know. I'm dying soon, so that's all I'm willing to think about.
Is that how your ghosts manifest? Just some weird guy that phases in and out of your house.
Yeah, the one right behind you right now got a big mustache.
And a gray wool coat.
Oh, he's coming closer. Oh, no.
That'd be funny to see the ghost of a Civil War reenactor.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're coming around to that, right?
I think those are the lamest ghosts. Like, you ever see those TV shows where they do like reenactments of hauntings? Have you ever watched one on the Civil War ghost? It's just like, oh, and then there was a guy standing in a field, and like they're
Yeah.
just the most boring ghosts,
And
in my opinion.
they're also probably the most believable to me. When you read about like the Civil War and like how many people died just like in Georgia alone, like it makes sense that Savannah would be haunted as fuck.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And that you would just walk through a field and see a guy. But what would be funny is to see, instead of seeing an actual Civil War casualty, to see the guy who was on Ghost Hunters reenacting see the ghost
See-
of him.
See, I want like a Civil War ghost doing weird shit in my house, like the other ghosts do.
Like trying to figure out how the burners work.
Yeah, or like pranking me, like a Civil War poltergeist. That's kind of fun.
But
To
he's got a sense
Yeah.
of humor about it.
Civil War ghost reenacting how he died, which was dysentery. Forever.
Just
Oh, that's
All
just
over your
sad.
house.
That's
He's just sitting on your toilet bowl when you walk in, like that scene from Dumb and Dumber.
or just all over your house.
Well, that would be horrifying. That wouldn't be funny.
That's not much different than our house right now. Everyone's pooping all over our house lately.
That's true.
Everyone.
Yeah, especially Victor.
Hey, I'm under a lot of pressure these days. Okay.
Oh, just like with animals and the cat's been having problems.
Yeah,
There's just been, a lot of poop in our lives lately.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. We really learned the meaning of blowout recently. That's become a big part of our lives.
Mhm.
Blowout?
It's when baby shit escapes containment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Usually if she's like sitting in a car seat or like sitting somewhere and there's like pressure, it really is like an explosion in there.
Yeah, I've always wondered how it gets like halfway up their back.
Oh yeah, that's usually they're
That's
sitting.
classic.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I was younger, and I had like, cousins and whatever that were still babies, and an adult would have to go and take care of it. And I'd be like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
Between their shoulder blades.
Yeah, definitely always bringing like a whole change of clothes or two
Yeah.
anywhere we go. But you know what? Baby poop is not that bad. It's not that gross.
We've crossed into letting people hold the baby, which has been fun. Olivia's parents got to hold the baby a couple days ago, and they were really happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, it's crazy how fast it's going. She's getting close to 2 months old now.
Yeah, she's 6 weeks now, as of right now, right?
Yeah, coming up on 7.
It's coming
right?
up on 7.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's starting to give me menacing glares, threatening glares, I think she knows something from his past life.
Figuring
She's
out who
coming for
who she has to usurp to become head of
me.
the family.
Right, exactly. It's very Game of Thrones here at all times.
I hope she's one of those babies that like starts talking and is like, I was on the Titanic.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. And then it's funny how they kind of just forget after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I've been
me.
joking. Oh
Yeah, you're a ghost
like
baby.
you, ghost baby.
We talked about this.
Yeah, and last time you brought it up, I didn't remember what you were talking about. I was like, I'm a ghost baby?
Okay, but this is
'Cause
progress. We said it in a way where it's in your
this
brain
time
now.
we forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I had to edit that episode where I forgot, so I've heard it enough times now that it stuck. But yeah.
Does that burn anything back for you? Are you are you living 2 lives now? You're kind of like in and out of like your past, fighting in the trenches of the Civil War, the classic Civil War trenches, machine gun fire over your head,
baby.
Fighter jets flying over you.
A baby that died in the Civil War.
Spy satellites flying.
My theory is that so say reincarnation is real. What happens is you die and then you're immediately a baby. And for a while, up until about the time you can talk, you just remember everything from before. So you're just like you're like Abraham Lincoln in a baby's body.
I have been parenting her as if she is reincarnated Abraham Lincoln. I'm just gonna assume that's what's going on. When she cries, I'm like, I'm so sorry, Mr. President.
I mean, Occam's razor.
Right away, Mr. President.
Occam's razor, you might as well just hedge your bets in that direction because chances are good. But that assumes...
I'm just saying that's probably how it works.
That assumes that... Well, that would mean Abraham Lincoln died 2 months ago. Or, sorry, how old?
Time is not linear,
No,
Zach.
that's not how that works.
You just said as soon as you die, you become a baby.
Yeah, but we have a single soul that's working through every living thing, bouncing back and forth, and that's God. And one day God will realize that that's all it's doing, and then time will end. I don't know. I'm still piecing it together.
Yeah,
but
one mushroom trip at a time.
So she was somebody that died a little bit ago, who was somebody that, like so on and so forth, back to Abraham Lincoln.
I mean, I don't okay, let's say reincarnation is real. I don't think the idea of like your soul leaves your body and then has to find like a fleshy host in like a full womb somewhere and like enters into that soul, like the timing is right. I don't think it's like, okay, every time a person dies, a new baby must be born. Like that doesn't make any sense.
I picture there being like a lobby, like a waiting room.
Yeah.
Like my, the baby that I was before, my great-grandfather's brother is who it was. Like he died of SIDS or whatever, and then had to go back to the lobby. And then he's like, all right, I'll wait for another ship to jump. And then that turned out to be me. He saw me leaving my physical vessel leaving the harbor, and he's like, I'll get on that one.
I wonder what baby purgatory is like.
Well, I think it's all one purgatory, right? Like babies are human.
Maybe.
Babies are
Maybe
human.
there's a different place to go.
Wait, are you saying about babies that died as babies, or are you talking about
No,
like a person dies and then they become a baby in purgatory waiting to become a
I guess
human
if
baby?
this is
No, they're
this
just
is
like an
how it works,
orb.
there's no afterlife. There's just purgatory and life.
Right.
What's the end game though? Like, what are we trying to do here?
Destroy the planet.
Oh,
So we
okay,
can all
well, then
become
we're
one
doing
again.
fine.
Yeah.
We're doing great. We're right on track for that.
That's an interesting idea. It's like maybe we're supposed to annihilate life. Like maybe life is the problem. It keeps like dragging us down into the material world
We
with
all-
all of its faults. You know, we should. If nothing existed, there's be no sin.
Yeah,
right?
that's the foundation of my cult that I'm starting. We're trying
we
to
kill the world. We all go back into one being. We're all God again.
on a spaceship.
God beat
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
God beat his own simulation.
God being me, I am God. Everyone else is auxiliary God, backup God. You know,
We're
can
really
fill in my absence, but
really figuring it out today, right off the bat.
Yeah, coming in hot.
Where do your dreams come from? And what do they really mean? What do they really mean?
I had kind of a profound lucid dream, which I don't normally lucid dream.
I had the one that I brought. If we needed a dream was lucid, or like a weird version of lucid that I've never had before.
Ooh, maybe we can do
Themesode.
both.
Yeah, lucid,
Especially
Lucy Gooseys.
if they're-
today.
Lucy Goosey.
Lucy Gooseys. Yeah, if they're related somehow, that could be the only thing they have in common.
That's enough.
That's plenty.
You want to tell us about yours?
Sure. Okay, just give me a second to gather my thoughts and drink some water and clear my throat. And
Do a quick stretch.
yeah, fuck, my shoulder is killing me.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Holding a baby and nursing is like really something on your neck
Mm.
and your back and your pussy and your crack.
This is a dumb question, but you can drink caffeine when you're pregnant, right?
Yeah. Like, don't go crazy with it, but you can have like plenty of caffeine for one person.
Okay.
Should I not be giving her coffee? Is that a thing I should stop doing?
You can give it to her directly when she's born.
Just figure if there's like some wet
Mainline
grounds on the
it.
bottom of the French press, you know, put them to good
Rubbing
use.
coffee
yeah.
grounds on her gums.
When I worked at a coffee shop, these two little kids came in one time, probably like, I don't know, 10 and 7, around those ages. And they were unsupervised. They just walked into the shop and they had cash, and they each wanted a double shot of espresso.
Oh wow.
What?
And I
Oh,
didn't,
what were they up to?
I don't know. They were so pumped when I made it for them, though. And then
Yeah, they were not supposed to have that.
I started thinking about that afterward, because I was
I feel
just,
like you could have said no, maybe.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
didn't
know.
feel
What
like,
are they gonna do? They're not gonna sue you.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really think about it. I was just like, this is legal tender.
Yeah, you're not their parents. Not your job.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
that's what I was
actually
thinking
their
at the,
parents' fault.
that's what I was thinking at the time. But then afterward, I don't know. A thought crossed my mind that might not be legal. So I Googled legal to sell children coffee. And I was like, well, that's a thing that's in my search history now.
You're going to get like a local ordinance named after you, though. It's going to be like Zach's Law that you can't sell espresso to anyone under 12.
Yeah, without their parents' presence.
Right.
Okay. So I had this dream like 2 or 3 nights ago. And it was pretty brief. I was laying in bed, but I was at college, but it was like a room I didn't recognize, but it was like a bedroom, and I knew that I was at college. And Victor was there with me, and it was dark. We were sleeping. And I heard, it was maybe like a dorm room, because there was like an attached bathroom. and I heard like a sloshing, splashing sound coming from the bathroom. And I got up and I was walking towards the bathroom to go investigate. And I got this feeling of dread as I was approaching the bathroom. I was like scared. And I like thought, oh, I don't want to look in there. And at this point, it really felt like the dream took over and like made me lucid at that moment and was like, no, it's fine. This is a dream. You need to go look in the bathroom. Sorry if you can hear the baby.
It's a scary story.
You just blame it on me next time.
Yeah, so I like became aware that it was a dream, and I was like, okay, it's fine to look in the bathroom. I'm not scared of this because it's a dream. And I opened the bathroom door, and in the bathroom, in the bathtub, there was it looked like a newborn baby in the way that, like, if you've seen a newborn, they're like kind of all scrunched up and writhing, and like their face is kind of like puffy, and like they're not really online yet, you know? It was a newborn baby, but it was like large. It was like the size of a toddler. Like it had kept growing, but had not developed past being a newborn. And I picked it up, and I'm like kind of holding it in front of me, and I asked it. So this is what was so interesting to me, because we talked about this, and like Steve had talked about this, where like in a lucid dream you might ask a dream character a question, and I was like in this lucid state where I was like holding this like maldeveloped piece of me, and I asked it, "What are you?" And it said, "I'm the part of you that hates people."
Whoa.
And what I know, I'm like chills, right? And then, but like at the same time as it said that, what I received was that it was the part of me that hates myself. Like that those meant the same thing. Like the part of you that hates people is the part of you that hates yourself. And I don't remember. I feel like something else was said. I don't remember exactly, but I put it back in the bathtub, and I think I reassured it that it was going to be okay. Yeah, I think I just told it it's going to be okay. And I went back to bed, and I was telling Victor in my dream that I just had a lucid dream and that the baby in my lucid dream told me that it was the part of me that hates people. And then I said to him, I think this dream means that I need to have more compassion for people. And yeah, just like the whole time I got the feeling that like the concept of people in this dream was also synonymous. Like it included me on a big level. Like it wasn't like about external people entirely. Like it was very much also about myself. And that was the whole dream.
Well, like we just established, we're all one, and we're all God trying to destroy the planet. That last part was still the dream, right? Where you were telling Victor what you thought the meaning was. You were still.
Yes. Yeah, that was still in the dream.
You're doing that thing where you interpret a dream.
Yeah, I keep doing that. That's definitely because of this podcast.
But
yeah, I guess like, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if it has subsided in frequency since we've been recording less often.
Possibly. I haven't been dreaming as much or recording my dreams as often. So yeah, it maybe hasn't had as much of a chance to do that. But this dream was really profound. Like I did not need to write anything down. Most of the dreams that I've had in the last few months, I've like had a hard time retaining them or like really had to like document it right away. But like, I don't know, this one just like was extra vivid, and it really stuck with me. Especially, I don't know, it just feels like, I mean, there's definitely stuff to dig into, but it's like so, I don't know, it feels really on the nose. Like when I say it out loud, this infant in like arrested development that's like that kept getting bigger but didn't
develop.
I guess there's a lot to dig into there.
But it is on the nose. It's like hacky dream writing.
Yeah, it's almost
Yeah.
like it's almost like too corny.
Okay, so the symbols I looked up, if you want to dig into them, because like you said, there might be there's like a really clear your dream's telling you what it means, but there might be some deeper meaning. So dormitory, right? You said we were in a dorm.
Yeah, and we have explored like school before, and I remember that the level of school
is the level of distress or whatever,
or like I don't know. According to Dream Bible, I think it like maybe points to like different things that you might be dealing with, or like it's one of those things where it's like that's the time in your life where this is pointing back to,
Yeah, I remember it having to do something with if you're in elementary school, it's like a rudimentary problem that you might have developed at a very early age, like something really basic, like playing well with others.
Right.
And if it's college, it could be psychologically more complex.
Well, what's interesting to me is that the character that I spoke to was an infant,
but you're in a
but
dormitory.
I'm at college, which is like the highest level.
Well, when you think about it,
or whatever,
I feel like those rudimentary problems that you pick up early on would become the most complicated because they are so ingrained in your like subconscious. That you've been carrying them. You know what I mean?
Definitely. It's like the roots are like very old and very basic and have to do with like your early childhood development, but they've like grown into this like complex developed monster that you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to look at dormitory, but I would also like to read the college entry, I think.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I just want to get all my entries squared away.
Because it didn't actually, like, I'm saying that it felt like a dormitory because it was the layout of a dormitory, but I remember when I was there, like, feeling like it was a classroom or something. Like it felt like I was in school.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, so we got college and dormitory, and then I've got bathtubs. Any other symbols I should pull up?
No, I think that's a great place to start.
Cool. All right. Dormitory. To dream of a dorm represents common problems with others. Well, there you go. Your problems, anxieties, or ideas are out in the open. It may also reflect a lack of privacy when experiencing problems or anxiety issues. Problems that are out in the open or obvious to others, sharing the same problem as others. Alternatively, a dorm may reflect intellectual pursuits that involve others, such as group brainstorming. To dream of sleeping in a dorm, which you were, right?
Yeah.
May represent inaction or an unwillingness to change something that other people are noticing about you. If you're currently in college living in a dormitory, then throw all that out.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'd like to hear college too while we're here.
Okay, college. To dream of college represents issues or situations in your life that you are giving serious thought that benefit you and increase your status or power. They can represent well-earned relaxation, success, or compensation for hard work. College in a dream may be a sign that you are very busy or focused on an issue that is allowing you to improve yourself or benefit in some way. You may want to show off your skills or take a well-deserved break. College dreams are common when people are learning new skills, finishing work projects that allow them to gain in some way. You may have worked hard to earn something and now want to play with it. You worked hard to earn this baby.
And now I want to play with it. But she's still kind of a potato right now.
It does kind of sound like college is parenthood, though, because you've been, from day one, before the baby was even born, when the baby was just a thought, you've been thinking a lot about therapy-related stuff and, like, working on yourself.
Yeah, but the college entry and the dormitories entry resonate, and they connect, I think.
They both resonate?
Yeah. The dormitories entry mostly resonated, I think. But the college entry being about like issues or situations in your life that you're giving serious thought, focused on an issue that is allowing you to improve yourself or benefit in some way, that resonates.
So the dormitory entry, it's common problems with others, anxieties or ideas that are out in the open. So it's like kind of not having privacy with a problem.
Mhm.
People see your problem. Your
Mhm.
problem is other people's problem.
Let me just think about how I want to talk about this.
And to be sleeping in a dormitory is specifically inaction or unwillingness to change about something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if this matters, but I remember I was lying awake. We were in a bed, but I was awake.
You were staring at me thinking, this son of a bitch isn't willing to change his problems that other people are
Yeah,
aware
you were
of.
dead
They're
asleep.
public.
Something that I've been thinking about a lot lately and dealing with is feeling socially uncomfortable with myself. My whole life I have felt like I had to perform. Not like anything crazy, but just like I have to really intentionally navigate social situations in a way that is draining and leads me to like not really be authentic around everybody. It's not everyone, but like in certain situations I feel like a lot of pressure to be a certain way and act a certain way, and that is difficult, and also I think detracts from my overall happiness. And so the past like year or so I've really like since I became aware that I do that, I've had a harder time doing it. And so I've felt kind of on display in a sense because I'm not able to like easily control how I present myself to other people. Just the awareness of this thing that I do has made it harder for me to do it. And I think that's good overall because I don't think I want to be doing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you feel like that's the inaction, the part of the word inaction that you were like, that was resonating for you?
That part doesn't resonate with me,
Oh,
to
okay.
be honest. It's just the common problems with others. To me, this is like a social problem. It's like I've had a lot of like social anxiety in the past, and actually like thinking about college, like that was a time where it was really bad because I was around a lot of different people and not just the people I chose to be around. Like I tend to nowadays surround myself with people that I'm comfortable just being myself with. You know, in college, it's like you're not in control of who's around you all the time. So, anyway, yeah, common problems with others, your problems, anxieties, or ideas are out in the open. That to me feels like, okay, now I'm not really able to do that as much, and I feel kind of like on display. That's something I'm struggling with lately. Problems that are out in the open are obvious to others. Like I feel like because I can't easily put on this mask, you know, for people, I'm in a place where it's like I'm also not totally comfortable just like, well, I'm just going to be myself. So I feel like really awkward and uncomfortable in those situations where I feel like I can't do that. I'm in kind of like a middle ground where I'm learning to be more myself and accept myself and like be comfortable just being who I am around everybody. But I'm not quite able to do that yet.
That's something that we really have in common too. You know, we both have experienced that feeling of like feeling stressed out in most social situations and feeling like we're not able to be authentic or to be our real selves. And what's so bizarre about having whatever that is like you don't necessarily like prefer like the version of yourself that it feels like you have to put out there. Like we're comfortable around each other. We can be ourselves around each other, and we like who we are better when we're together than like when we're out trying to like talk to someone we're not comfortable with. Like I become a version of myself that I don't particularly like. I like I'm kind of like a wooden, awkward, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not actually relaxed and able to like be real, you know? I don't know. It's just it's this weird it's this weird like self trap that you find yourself locked into where it's like I like it would be wonderful to just be able to not do that thing, and yet you can't.
Yeah, and that's like why it feels like a maladaptation, right? Like it
Mhm.
feels like something that developed wrong, or some like a coping mechanism, or like something that I learned to do as a social survival skill that has like gotten me through certain situations, but has also like taken a toll on me and like overall not added to my life, because it was formed to make other people more comfortable from my perception. I think I learned at some point that I was weird or bad or not likable as a small child. Like there were lots of situations where like in group settings as a kid, I felt really singled out and like people were put off by me, and I didn't have this skill at that point, and I think I learned it to try and fit in and blend in. But yeah, but it's not authentic, and I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I think people forget that like when you're really young, and like elementary school and even before elementary school, there's a real strong impulse to like conform, to be normal, to be like everybody else, to not be like kind of odd or weird or out there in any way. And like you can develop all of these kind of fucked up ways to operate that then just become ingrained in you. And then down the road, you become like an adult, and then life in adult world is like, oh, you do get to find people that are like you. You do get to be yourself. There's like a whole world where you can like connect with people,
Mm-hmm.
But like by then the damage is already done. Do you relate at all to what we're talking about, or is this feel like kind of like you haven't had this same kind of experience? Because I know it's not an everybody thing.
Well, it's interesting because I think that pressure to conform or to be normal or whatever is pretty universal, especially if you went to public school,
Mm-hmm.
Or any kind of school. I think that's why, homeschool kids get such a bad rap for being weirdos, because they didn't have that. They got to be whoever they wanted from day one.
Dependent
But-
on the homeschool.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
pretty brutal homeschool situations too.
Sure, yeah, maybe I should have said whoever their parents wanted them to be.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
become
that's
whoever your
right.
mom wants you to be. Yeah.
Or whoever you want to be if your mom is cool.
Right.
Right.
Which in any case is probably going to be outside of the social norm. But yeah, I think I had a very different relationship with it, because I don't know, I like to think I'm like this rebellious, like contrarian or whatever, and have been since day one, this little punk rock rebel kid. But in reality, it's like, well, where does that come from? Like when I really am honest in evaluating what that is, I think it's much less an innate characteristic and much more of like a much more similar thing. But instead of like a maladaptation with the intent of conforming, it was a maladaptation to like, it like from an early age, I recognized like, I don't think I'm going to be able to like build a successful mask. So instead I'm going to be resentful of the pressure, and I'm going to actively work against it. And that's not a personality, like through negation, like that's a maladaptation in its own right, and has come back to bite me in numerous ways when I stop and think about it.
And then so often you just end up in a subculture
Yeah.
that is itself like
There's
pushing
different
conformity,
pressures, yeah.
and like there's all sorts of weird hierarchies and pressures, and like, you're being pushed to conform to an ideal or whatever. It's like there's a lot of different ways that looks like. It's not just,
The cool kids.
being, or
popular
being on the football team or whatever. It's just as much like being the kids that are all dressed in the same like dark clothing, smoking
Yeah.
cigarettes behind the school or whatever. That's its own version of that,
Yeah. I think about that a lot in relation. A big theme with me throughout the life of the podcast has been like career stuff. And I think about that a lot, like where I would be if I hadn't like rebelled myself into a corner, like actively tried not to do the safe thing because it was what everyone else praised, and I was resentful that people got accolades for playing it safe. So I'm going to go to fucking art school. But then I get to art school and they're like, if you want to make a living, you have to go to Hollywood or New York. And I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna like just rebelling against every step of the way, thinking that like I would be unique and special enough to like carve a completely new path.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like this. I definitely relate to what you're talking about. I think I just had a much different response to it from a young age.
I don't know if this is sort of related, but like an experience that I've had is that I when I've found myself in different crowds, like I also went to art school. Art school kids think Olivia is the most basic Barbie they've ever met. But if I and I have other friends, who are more like mainstream people, and when I hang out with those people, I'm a fucking weirdo. Like, I'm the weird artsy kid. Like, and I just don't fit in either of those places, and both of them think I like don't belong there, or like that's the message
That's
that
your
I
perception
receive.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, but I've been told that too, like directly. I've been told that lovingly. But
early on when we were dating, I don't know if a lot of people called you this or it was like one friend and it stuck in your brain, but you said people would call you Freaky Barbie.
someone called me Freaky Barbie.
But were they trying to tell you didn't belong, or was that subtext
This
that
person
you
was trying to
decided?
tell me that like outwardly I look like I might fit into a certain crowd, and that's not accurate if you know me. But yeah, like I guess this dream to me, the thing I wanted to come back to though was like this baby said, I'm the part of you that hates people.
Right, I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah.
Do you think, because when you first said that, I was imagining some like visceral, like real, like misanthropic type hate. But as you went on to talk about your relationship with people at large and yourself and your coping mechanisms, do you feel like that in that context, hate means much more like, I don't know, like I hate to go to the gym. Like it's nothing personal against people. It's just so much work, and it's like, ugh.
No, I think that it is like I think that it's talking about a self-loathing tendency. And I have found myself, like I think people in general do this, that when somebody else does something that like rubs you the wrong way, or really like you're like, I hate that, I don't like that person did that or whatever, like a lot of the time it's more a reflection of your own relationship with yourself. Like when somebody's triggering you, it's like they're often doing something that like you see in yourself that you don't like, and I think that is what this baby was talking about. Yeah, I think it was talking about my like skewed relationship that I have with myself, how that leaks into my perception of other people. And the message that I received was to like have more compassion for myself, and I will have more compassion for other people.
It not woo. I don't know what you'd call it, but like, yeah, that message is all over the place when you're looking for like life improvement, how how do I become a better person kind of stuff. And I know it sounds like I have more to say, but that's all I guess I have to say about
It's
that.
really like it's a psychology thing though, like it's not woo, it's projection, right? Like
Right. Yeah. It's like self-loathing really holds you back, I think.
yeah.
Like something that was like would plague me through my 20s is like operating from a place of self-loathing and bringing that into my interactions with people. And when you bring that energy into meeting new people or being around anybody, like it drags down the whole experience. It's a huge barrier between you and like making like authentic connections with people. And then like my way of trying to deal with that was to be like, okay, I'm gonna swallow down my self-loathing, pretend it's not there, and try and do like a bold social move that I wouldn't normally do because I hate myself. And like then you do that and you come off like a fucking insane person when you're trying to interact with somebody because it's like so inauthentic to who you actually are. You're trying to like
bypass the discomfort.
Yeah, you haven't actually dealt with your shit. And so like I don't know, I feel like I've gotten better about that, but it's still like once some of this like you said, maladaptive, like malformed, like once you've like developed emotionally in kind of a misshapen way, it takes like a lot of time and energy to just kind of like move that like just a degree in a healthier direction.
I do think like choosing to be around people that like are safe for you to be yourself around is like very healing.
Definitely.
And then the next step is to then be like, okay, I'm gonna bring this to my interactions with everybody. Like learning that like that person, that authentic version of yourself is likable and you don't need to change them. It's just crazy that like you can have that intention and then like the second you're around people that like trigger that maladaptive part of you, it's like you're not driving the ship, you know?
That comes up in dating for people all the time. It's like you're chugging along, like maybe you're doing okay, maybe you're making good choices or better choices, and then you run into a person that like perfectly triggers like this fucked up thing in you that's like trying to heal some weird childhood wound. It's like, oh, this person can like play the role of like, oh, maybe I can convince my mom to love me. Okay, let's see how this goes. And then you can ruin your life and waste years of your life. It just like this has never had a chance of being a healthy thing. It's just like a person like you will like kind of catch each other's orbits and be like, oh, we could just fuck up each other's lives. Just like working out old shit forever and never getting through it. So don't do that, kids.
That's not
Yeah.
relatable at all. I don't know.
My therapist, she used to say this a lot, but like water seeks its own level. So like when you are surrounding yourself with people or dating or whatever in friendships, you're only ever going to end up with people that are as fucked up as you are. Like you're never going to date someone who's like got way more baggage or who has got it way more figured out than you. Like you will always just end up with somebody like who's right at your level, and you're not going to like fix each other. Or one person is not going to help another person up or vice versa. Maybe you can drag someone down. I don't know. I think you just don't end up with somebody who's like doesn't have it figured out as much as you do.
Because like if you have enough self-respect to not get sucked into years of some shit like that, you would say, oh, this person isn't treating me well, or oh, this isn't working out, I'm gonna leave and find someone else I'm more compatible with. If you're staying, something in you feels like there's still something you can get out of this, even when it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Or for some reason you're scared to leave.
Right. But that
Which
fear
is-
is just, yeah, it's all coming from the same fucked up place.
Yeah. But-
So, bathtubs.
Yeah, bathtubs.
To dream of a bathtub represents a positive or comfortable mindset as you get rid of a problem. Feeling good or enjoying yourself as negativity or conflict is dealt with. Feeling good about situations where you are effectively controlling problems, effectively managing emotions. Alternatively, a bathtub may reflect self-reflection over issues or problems you have as they're being cleansed from your life.
Yeah, that feels right. It feels like I'm in like that period right now.
Yeah. It's something we've been talking about a lot.
Right. And that baby is like, it literally said, I'm the part of you that hates people or hates yourself.
Yeah.
And it was what was in the bathtub. And I put it back in the bathtub too, which like at the time felt like kind of weird, like, cause it didn't seem like the place for this. It was like writhing around and like totally unable to like do anything, but it was like sloshing around in this bathtub. Like it didn't seem like a good place for a thing
Toddler
like that,
newborn.
But I put it back in there and I said it's gonna be okay. It's like it's not done being cleansed or reflected on yet, but it's on its way, and that's what is happening. Yeah.
And then you went back to bed and told Victor exactly what the dream meant before you even woke up.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like that really covers it. I think we pretty
cracked
well
it.
cracked that one.
We did it.
Nice.
I mean, it kind of came like cracked, but it was interesting to talk about with you guys.
The nut was cracked, and we ate the nut, and it was delicious
Mhm.
with the shell down. Thinking of pistachios. That's what I'm thinking about.
Pistachios are healthy.
Is it cool if I eat pistachios on air? Is that
Yeah,
too
people
loud
love
of a
it.
snack?
I think that would be very divisive. The ASMR crowd would love it.
Hey, have you guys listened to the new Crying Baby and Pistachios pod?
They try to get to the bottom of deep psychological concepts while doing very distracting things. I had an idea for a podcast that is like a Frasier watch along.
Oh, we've been watching Frasier.
Yeah,
Oh,
we just
really?
started watching Frasier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. But so we start an episode of Frasier at the beginning of the podcast, but then we don't talk about it. We attempt to talk about like current events, but it's clear that we're very distracted.
That's good.
And if you start Frasier at the same time as us, you can see what we're distracted by.
Me and my buddy were always saying that we should start a pod called Harmontown Town, where we listen to episodes of Harmontown and discuss it.
I would listen
You
to
and
that,
Zach should
honestly.
do that.
Yeah,
I was obsessed with Harmontown.
Harmontown got me through a very bad job, and yeah, good stuff. I had my first job out of college was working in like an e-juice filling assembly line. So basically, like you would stand there for 10 hours a day, and you would squeeze liquid from big bottles into little bottles.
Give yourself carpal tunnel.
Yeah, and give yourself carpal tunnel. And I did that for a couple of months, and Harmontown was a saving grace. I was doing this incredibly mindless job.
Do you ever get nicotine juice on you and like?
You know the answer to that question, right? Are you asking because is this like a TV interview where
Yeah.
like you're prompting me to tell the story? Yeah, no,
So, Victor- I heard you may have got nicotine juice on your hands.
Yeah, apropos of nothing. Victor, did you ever get nicotine juice on you?
I'm just surprised that you worked there and were probably like on a nicotine high the whole time, but like didn't ever vape.
It was probably just like in the air. It was crazy because people would be like, they would be like inside, and it was like totally fine to vape inside while you were working.
Right.
But then they would all go out and smoke on their cigarette breaks.
Okay.
Like,
Here's the thing. Victor never was addicted to vaping, but the year after he quit that job, he was really sick and depressed.
I'm just in a bad mood all the time, and I don't know why. And I really want to go back to work at the vape place.
I kind of want that job. You just vape and listen to podcasts all day?
You know, there are worse jobs.
Yeah, I used to have a job where I could listen to podcasts. There was no like customer interaction or anything. And I would for the entire like 9-hour shift.
Yeah, that's
And-
my life.
And like a buddy recommended me a podcast one time. And I listened to it for like 3 shifts, you know. And I came back to him and I was like, I don't know if I really cared for it. It got kind of grating after a while. And he's like, how many episodes did you give it? And I was like, well, like 27 hours worth. He's like, of course it was grating. Anything's grating after that long, you psycho.
Do you want to tell us your lucid dream?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, it also started at college.
All right.
Ended with a
Like-
baby in a bathtub.
No, it got very different after that. But it was like, It started outside of like a frat house. There was like a party going on in a college frat house, and I was standing out front with Shelby, and this whole dream, it was weird because I was like lucid in that I was aware I was having a dream, but I had no like control over anything. I tried very briefly up top because I was also like misinformed. I thought like I knew that Shelby was also lucid dreaming. Like I was sure that like everyone else was a character, but she was the actual Shelby dreaming with me. And I was like, we could totally fly right now. And we like tried, but we could only like really kind of float a little bit, like a few feet off the ground, which is common for me. Every time I try to like lucid fly in a dream, I just kind of float like a half deflated balloon. But that was like the beginning. And then it transitioned into, I forget what the transition was, but I was in Shelby's mom's minivan, and I'm still like aware that I'm dreaming, and I feel like I can drive the minivan through different dreams.
That's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm driving along. It feels like I'm in a big warehouse, like a sound stage for a movie that is like aquatic themed. So there's big wooden set pieces that are shaped like waves. But I'm driving along concrete. It's like in a warehouse or like an airplane hangar. But everything is like beach themed. The set deck is beach themed. And I drive past my buddy's ex that I haven't seen in years, and she's wearing like a very conservative like 1950s like one-piece bathing suit and like big goofy sunglasses, and she's sitting on a surfboard, and she just waves as I drive past her. And then I go into a parking garage, and that's all filled with like fog, like what was that called? Like a smoke machine.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm like, oh, this is the transition. Like, this is how I get from one dream to the other, is I drive through this fog. So I'm not worried. There's like people in the parking garage, but I'm not worried about hitting them because I know they're not real, and I'm about to like transition. And then I sort of like smash cut, like hard transition to the van is now parked in a city, and I'm surrounded by cops, like dream police, and they're all like 300 pounds. They're like these big rotund cops, and they're like detaining me in the back seat while one of them is in the driver's seat, like completely shirtless and covered in engine grease. And I'm like, I remember being very concerned about Shelby's mom's van getting covered in this guy's, sweat and grease. While he's like taking apart the like steering column. I don't know what he's looking for, but like it has the feel of like a drug bust or something. Like it wasn't supposed to be driving through dreams, and now they're looking for contraband in the dashboard. And I tell one of the cops that I have to pee, but they won't let me out. And so I like try to pee my pants because I'm like, I just don't, like, this is going to take hours, and I just want to be more, I'd rather have wet pants than have to pee. But so I try to pee my pants and I can't. And then I'm like, oh, that's probably for the best, because I'd probably pee I'd probably pee in real life if I succeeded, and wet the bed. And sure enough, a second later, I woke up and I had to pee for real. And I was like, oh, dodged a bullet. And then I went up and used the bathroom like a grown up.
That felt like it was going to end with like, and then I woke up in jail and I realized that I had like taken Ambien and then stayed up and
I had peed my pants. God
like
damn it.
a lot of things happened.
I feel like symbol wise driving. And then you said there was like a beach theme.
Yeah, it's weird because it was like a sound stage decorated to be like a beach, like with big wooden waves. The minivan. The minivan
right.
was how I was transitioning through dreams.
I wanted to ask you, your friend's ex who you haven't seen in years. That's like an interesting person to randomly grab.
Yeah, it felt very random.
What are your feelings about that person? Or like, what was your understanding of their relationship? Or
she's really cool. We were pals. She dated one of my best friends for like 7 years, and they ended on like amicable terms. Like no one did anything wrong. They just like sort of had different goals in life and couldn't reconcile that.
Gotcha.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Sorry. What? I mean, yeah.
So if I saw her now, it would be friendly,
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Driving. To dream of driving a vehicle represents full control of decision-making or the direction a situation you're experiencing is taking. Controlling or navigating the direction in life you are headed. Increased feelings of controlling outcomes or your destiny. Whoever is driving reflects the quality or aspect of yourself that is influencing your current path. If you are driving and can't see the road ahead, it's a sign that you do not know where you are heading in life or don't know what to expect in the near future. There's driving too fast. There's driving at night. There's blocked or obstructed view. Poor controls. Spinning out of control. Big, bulky vehicle. Would van be big, bulky vehicle?
Yeah, kind of.
Did it feel like a big, bulky vehicle when you were driving?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It felt like I was driving the van.
Okay, yeah. So to dream of driving big or bulky vehicles may reflect sensitive decision-making about very important or awkward situations. It may also reflect problems with your ability to physically move around. Pregnant women, people with weight gain, or leg casts often have
weird.
these types of dreams.
Leg casts.
That part doesn't resonate, but it's interesting that it said having to be like delicate or careful or whatever it said.
Yeah.
And I was just sort of recklessly driving through this fog, which, also falls under obstructed vision.
Oh, fog
Sure,
is...
Oh, fog's a good symbol, yeah.
Yeah.
If your view is blocked or obstructed while you're driving, it reflects distractions or setbacks. If you're driving down a curvy road, it represents difficulties in achieving your goals due to a lack of stability or certainty. You may even feel that your direction in life never stays the same.
That's driving with a...
Blocked
view.
or obstructed
Okay.
view, yeah. And then fog is to dream of... fog represents confusion, uncertainty, or trouble figuring something out. Mystery, secrecy, or mixed signals. You're going to say something?
Yeah, that all resonates.
Mm.
Because like
How does it resonate?
having to come back to Colorado and sort of a little bit start over on where I'm going in life.
Yeah.
I was on this
Yeah.
one trajectory in California, and then there was sort of a hard reset with everything, having to come back here. But it makes sense to me that I would be like not concerned. I was driving into this fog, like not worried that anything bad was going to happen, that I was going to go to another dream. It was going to teleport me. I didn't know where, but I wasn't concerned about it because where I am in real life is uncertain, but it's like very stable and feels safe. And like, I feel like I have the luxury of figuring it out more than I have in the last few years.
Yeah.
Um,
This sentence is so on point with that. It says a difficult challenge in your life where it's hard to know what is right or difficult to know where you are in relation to your goals.
yeah. Yeah. So
It's
very open-ended and very unclear where I'm going, but it pretty accurately reflects my feelings about it. Like I feel unsure, but like pretty confident and not very scared or anxious about it. Although there's clearly some underlying anxiety because I ended up getting pulled over by the dream police and having my car searched. But I feel like that's probably reflective of, the part of me that caught myself being unconcerned within the dream was like, but wait, what if this all blows up in your face and some big fat guy takes your car apart?
He's greasing up my van.
My girlfriend's mother's van. That was-
Yeah, but the driving symbolism is like that you are in control, that you are steering the ship, right? Like you're choosing the direction to go, and you are driving, and you are confident when you're driving. And like, if you wanted to be hokey about it, you could say like you are literally like driving yourself to a new dream, So you had your old dream, and you are finding the new dream. And it's a little foggy what that dream's going to be when you get there, and you're maybe worried about some trouble, but like you're finding the new thing that you want.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting that I was driving through a soundstage of a beach because I feel like when I was in LA, I was dreaming about beaches and oceans a lot.
Yeah.
Like
and
that-
like
that
a
came up in-
soundstage, those are LA concepts,
Sound stages and beaches, yeah. But it was always like a real ocean when we were doing those episodes.
Mhm.
And we talked a lot about what that means. And now I'm driving through a fake ocean. It's almost like I was thinking like, oh, I guess that wasn't the path. It just looked like it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. Let's hear beach.
Yeah, because beaches are all about transitions, right?
Yeah, I think so.
To dream of the beach represents a time in your life when you are confronting negativity or facing uncertainty. It may also represent a transition from a familiar setting to an unfamiliar one. Confronting a current difficulty, confronting a hard reality after first believing you wouldn't have to. Negatively dreaming of the beach may be a sign that you're confronting a serious crisis moment in your life. Possibly a sign that you are not doing enough to take a serious problem or crisis seriously enough. And yeah, transition, like change, uncertainty, like, reality pivots,
Yeah, that makes sense. And I remember talking about a lot of that stuff when I was dreaming about real oceans.
Would you say like a movie studio would be the closest thing to a soundstage?
Yeah.
So it says...
Soundstage would be part of a movie studio, yeah.
Right. To dream of a movie studio represents life situations where you are seriously or professionally preparing for something to be experienced in a certain way. Preparing for someone else to experience something. Thinking of every detail required to make a specific type of experience happen. A big event where you want people involved doing their part. Feeling that everyone has to do their part until a situation is over to make an event or experience happen exactly as planned. Negatively, a movie studio may reflect practicing lies or deception to make someone else experience something, preparing a dishonest, scary, or criminal experience.
No, the first part of that resonated perfectly was where I was at when I was in Los Angeles. Like a lot of setting up to accomplish certain things, but also having a lot of it in the hands of other people. I was kind of fingers crossed a lot of time. A lot of the time, because there's only so much you can do, and then when you're putting your eggs in a basket that also rely on luck and other people having luck. That's very much where I was at not that long ago.
Yeah.
It just really makes sense that this is what you're dreaming about right now,
Definitely. You're in a big time of transition.
Yeah. It's funny. As I was telling this dream, I was thinking like, I wish I had someone in the dream like explain the meaning, like in Olivia's, but it's actually pretty quickly accessible.
Yeah, it at first it seemed kind of just like a little all over the place, but it really does seem like you're going from one dream to the next, and you're not really sure where it's gonna take you. But
Greasy cop turns back and he's like, "I'm your fear of failure. Wake up now, Zach.
You have to pee
don't
for real.
piss your pants, Zach."
So, out of curiosity, did you have the cop entry or police entry pulled up?
Yeah, 1 sec. Okay, let's see. To dream of police means they know what you did. They know.
Oh, shit.
They're coming for you. Look behind you. No,
It's still the man with the mustache.
He was a cop the whole time. To dream of a police officer represents discipline, intervention, and enforcement of behavior, rules, or structure. Feelings about changes being forced on you or others. A need to restore sanity, rationality, or justice to a situation. A need for fairness, order, or respect for adherence, rules. Feeling of being in trouble for not behaving or staying disciplined, maintaining order and safety in your life, the enforcement of boundaries, or the protection of your own values and principles. There's positive police, there's negative police. I wonder if there's greasy police.
Greasy police.
Police corruption.
Police corruption, female police.
No.
Spiritually police.
Yeah, spiritually. Police in a dream may reflect feelings about your life being controlled or guided by God. Feeling that God is forcing you to change or intervening to punish bad people with a life lesson. There's running away from police and being arrested by police. Which one feels more?
Was kinda...
To dream of being arrested by police represents being held accountable for your actions or that discipline is being enforced upon you. No fucking shit, Dream Bible.
Yeah. This whole entry is kind of like everything that police could possibly mean in real life or in a dream.
Yeah. It may also symbolize a situation in which you are forced to confront your issues or face the consequences of your decisions. This dream can signify an acknowledgement that you need to make changes or take responsibility for your behavior, habits, or life choices. Addicts may dream of being arrested when they have to get sober, feeling that a change is being forced upon you.
I did talk last time about being sober. Now that's coincided with this new chapter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that stuff resonated. Yeah, and some of the other stuff, felt like it could be about, the fear of not knowing exactly where I'm going, and I don't know. It's such a literal force that,
Right.
like, if the van is the metaphor you're using to move through this fog, through this like unclear period of time, like police are a very apt metaphor for like a thing that could stop you
Yeah.
and tell you you're doing it wrong.
We didn't really catch up. Like, we didn't hear like kind of what's going on. Last time we talked, it sounded like you were seriously considering taking a job, like not a dream job, but like just a job. Like, did you end up doing that, or what happened there?
Yeah, I'm in training for that right now.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah, it's just a job, but
How are you feeling about it?
I'm not super excited.
For sure. Yeah.
But you know, it pays really well, and so, you know, best case scenario, I'll be able to figure out what is next after that, like what's really next
Yeah.
in a more permanent sense while doing that. Worst case scenario, like I'm a little bit worried it's going to take over my life and I won't have time to figure out the next step.
Yeah.
But worst case scenario, if I just stick with it for a little while, I have a lot more money than I did before, and that opens up a lot of doors, and I have that much more time to think about what I'm really doing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say is like if you can save some and like bank some money, that could help you leap into the next thing, you know,
Yeah.
when you're not just like drowning trying to stay afloat.
And even if I had that money right this second, I'm not 100% sure what would be the best way to invest in it, whether that's like going back to school for like a 12-month certificate for something or what have you.
All on black, baby.
Get a small
You know,
business loan.
One big spin, you know, double your money.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm back in a state where sports gambling is legal.
Hey, there you go.
But yeah, I definitely feel like the cops could have to do with the sobriety thing, because there's which is also like part and parcel of just being more accountable in general. Like I'm in a family setting. I'm with Shelby's family, and clear-headed all the time, and then making decisions. I don't know how to explain it. It's not a vacuum where it's just me anymore, and all my decisions only affect me and my survival.
Right.
It is still about that, but I'm like taking another person along with me, and I'm more concerned about making decisions in a healthy way, you know.
Yeah.
I think ultimately that is a better place to be, you know. The rewards are much richer, you know, when you're living your life in part for others, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before I would have sacrificed any number of personal comforts to make it on that, like, what I now feel like is a soundstage, that beach transition where I was, you know, working towards and waiting for a lot of things to happen in California. I would have sacrificed sleep and healthy habits and a comfortable living situation when it's just me. So yeah, maybe the cops are reflective of that, the end game of that, or the logical conclusion of that, and me putting pressure on myself to not behave that way anymore, to be more holistic in my pursuit of career goals.
I know that you're going to find something that you love and that's meaningful to you. You know, maybe that's dealing drugs, you know, maybe that's
Civil War reenactment.
threatening local businesses. I don't know, sticking
Extortion.
up convenience stores. Yeah, you know, blackmailing local politicians. But I know you're going to find something that really means a lot to you, you know. You're going to run that down.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be so single-minded and all-encompassing as it had been before.
That's a good place to be. I feel like, you know, we're obviously a lot busier than we were since Violet arrived, but I feel like I've been even better about like making time to like be happy and present and like doing I've been able to do like some self-care stuff that like I was too in my head to allow myself to do before. It's like I have less time than we've had the whole time we've been together, but the psychological barriers have fallen a bit between me and doing things that feel good for me, like working out and reading and like, you know, taking some pressure off myself with some stuff that like I, you know, I'm in a better place, even though I have more responsibility than ever, you know?
Mm-hmm. Also, this just hit me. The first part of that dream where Shelby and I are outside the frat house, and I'm like, we can fly, and we can't really fly. That did feel like chronologically coming before the like leaving LA scene through the soundstage makes sense, because when she tried to move to LA, there was this feeling of like, because I was barely surviving and affording my little corner of LA by myself.
Right.
But then trying to do it with her there, you know, we were trying to find a place that was more comfortable than the rat trap I lived in. She was having a hard time with the job market. It just felt like we were outside the party trying to get in. And then I was like, well, we don't have to. We can just fly. We're lucid. We're in control.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't really fly as long as we were still there, and we had to get in the van and go. Even though I don't
Yeah,
remember,
that really makes sense.
even though I
It
don't,
does.
she wasn't in the van with me. It was her mom's van, so it still felt like relevant.
You feel like we wrapped this one up.
And do crack 2 back to back,
2 nuts.
2 pistachios,
Mm-hmm. Cracking nuts.
cracking nuts and slapping butts.
This is what I'm doing. I'm patting this baby's butt while we're talking.
Thank you for listening to The Young and the Restless.
You can find us on socials at The Young and the Restless Pod, and submit your dreams to thejungandtherestlesspod@gmail.com.
And as we always say, the squeaky wheel gets the
cock
cock grease.
grease.